What's your favorite scary movie? If it's Scream, you're in luck. I think we're going to have a good time today. Welcome to the Horror Movie Syllabus. I'm Professor Victor, and it's that time of year where we're doing our horror movie franchise marathon. I'm going to take a particular franchise and watch as many of them as I can in a row. And this year, the franchise is Scream, which was voted on by you guys. Thanks to all of you who voted. I appreciate your participation. And I'm excited for this one because I love the original Scream. I've seen that movie many, many times. And then the newest ones that have just come out recently, I've seen those recently because they came out recently. But everything else, I haven't seen that in quite a while. So I'm looking forward to revisiting those and watching them all in order, seeing how they connect, seeing how they play out in one big long stream. I'm excited for this one. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go and start the first movie right now. I'll be right back. Okay, first movie's done, and yeah, it never gets old, man. I love this movie. I think it's great, and it's fun to watch it again and see if something that I noticed that I hadn't noticed before. And there was two actually this time. First, and I can't believe I've never noticed or like absorbed this before, but when Billy's coming over to the party, somebody shouts out in the background, "There's no one here but us chickens." I don't know what the hell that's about, but I must have heard it over a dozen times and I've never absorbed or realized that. So that was just kind of weird and random. And the other thing is when Nev Campbell's in the police car and she's trying to call the police, she says, "I'm at Stu Macher's house." She gives the address and then she says, "He's trying to kill me." So would the police think that Stu Macher is trying to kill her? Because at that point she doesn't know it's Stu, right? But I think she kind of identified him before even, knowing that it was him. So I thought that was kind of a fun little clue or something like that. I think it's probably intentional, and I've never really picked up on it before, so that's good. Yeah, this movie is important to me because I've told the story before. Like in the 90s, I was kind of getting out on horror. I was really tired of the derivativeness of it and just the lackluster efforts. And so when this movie came out, I didn't want to see it, but I got talked into going by people who had seen it before because they knew I would dig it because I was a Drew Barrymore fan, and you have to understand back at the time, Drew Barrymore was billed as the star of this movie. They really sold that, so that opening really knocked my socks off. And from that moment on, I was super in, and this movie just reignited my love of horror, and is a big part of why we even have the horror movie syllabus. Because otherwise, I probably would be doing a baseball video channel. So thanks to Scream, you guys get these videos. So we're gonna move on to the next one. All right, Scream 2 is down. And yeah, this movie's good. I remember when it came out and people weren't really thrilled by it. Hey, excuse me, I'm trying to make a video here. The movie was probably unfairly maligned because it was, well, frankly, it wasn't Scream, and it's not. It's not as good as Scream, and it's a bit of an issue because the movie spent a lot of time talking about how sequels can be inferior to the original and how rare it is for a movie to be as good as or better than the original. So I think that hurt Scream 2 initially, but I think, at least for me personally, and I think for everybody, the movie has kind of gotten reassessed and people see how good it is and the benefits of it. Yeah, there's some stuff that's still kind of weak, but it's overall it's good. But one thing that I thought was interesting, I don't think I've ever really absorbed before, is the movie is not in California. Like they're in college, and I think they're supposed to be in Ohio, and it's pretty clear in the movie that they're not in California. They make multiple references to it, but I just never really absorbed that. It's not really a big deal for this movie, but when we get to Scream 6, yeah, that I'll have more to say about it then, I think. But yeah, this one is definitely worth checking out for sure. It's if you haven't seen it, it's a worthy sequel. It's really a solid follow up to the original one, and a lot of good characters in there, and a really great way of integrating all of the characters from the first movie that were left into this one, and a pretty good reveal at the end too. I think that it's looking back, it's a little bit. Laurie Metcalf sticks out a little bit in this movie to me now. That she's Academy Award nominated and everything like that, but overall, I still think that's a surprise or a reveal that is worthy of the original. So I like Scream 2 quite a bit. But now we're going to go into Scream 3. Okay, we're through Scream 3, and that's kind of the nadir of the series. I always thought so. I mean, it's not anybody's favorite movie by any stretch of the imagination, and it's it's got its good points, but it's such a convoluted story with a reveal that is not particularly inspiring. The villain is not particularly good in this one. The twist reveal isn't really particularly strong. Their attempts to try to throw other characters into suspicion is kind of ham-fisted, but it does have its moments. Parker Posey is kind of a bright spot in that movie. I think she's really funny in that. I like that. And I think that the progression of the characters is pretty nice, like seeing the relationships develop, how they've gone from like, Gail and Sid have gone from, enemies to frenemies to actually becoming kind of friends. That awkward hug and stuff like that is good. I like that Sid is wearing the necklace from Derek from part two in it. That's a nice touch. So there's some stuff to like about the movie, but overall, it's too many weird cameos that don't really seem to matter, and just kind of a story that is just really plot heavy with surprise relatives and things like that. Just stuff that I find to be kind of weak storytelling, and I'm just really glad that it's not actually, the conclusion of a trilogy. A, because I hate trilogies, and B, because it's going to be kind of a sour note to end on. So fortunately, that's not where we're ending. Scream 4, the grossly underrated Scream 4 that is finally getting the love that it deserved when it first came out. It didn't really get that love. I remember it coming out and people were kind of lukewarm about it. And I was pleasantly surprised that it's far better than it has any business being. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot better than people gave it credit for, frankly. Yeah, some of the comedy's a little bit wonky, and you have to kind of suspend your disbelief about the reveal, but I like the reveal quite a bit. I think it's a lot of fun. I like the way that movie ends quite a bit. I think the movie holds up rather well. It's been a long time since I've seen this one, but I think it holds up. I think it kind of has improved with age a little bit. The whole theme of internet fame and just trying to be famous for tragedy and stuff like that seems like it resonates even more now than it did then. And it has a bunch of new characters that are pretty fun, and some of which will actually be influential in the series as it goes on. Yeah, this movie is a big step up from the last one for sure, and gets the series right back on track. And again, doesn't leave it on a trilogy sour note. So yeah, I'm energized by this one. Emma Roberts is somebody I really like. I think she's fun in this movie. I think she's a lot of fun in this movie. She takes more after her dad than her aunt, thankfully. So she's down to have a good time. She's a up and coming scream queen, or pretty much a legitimate scream queen at this point. But and again, the legacy characters, the way that they are set up in this movie, the whole setup of this movie, and how they bring everybody back together again actually makes a lot of sense. It's an excuse to get the crew back together again to make this movie, but it really made sense. It really tracked well, and yeah, just a much better movie than it should have been for a part four that probably was going to a franchise that didn't need to go back to anymore. And thank God it did, because it's smooth sailing on the way off from here on out. So looking forward to the next one. Okay, Scream 5, the so called requel. And this is how you do a requel. This is a really, really, really good movie. They've brought the legacy characters in a way that feels like it honors them and it gives them something to do. They're not just there to cameo, but it really does truly pass the torch to the new characters. And the new characters are very good. They've got a cast of really good actors, and they've made characters that were mostly likable and interesting. And the two new characters, Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, are really good. Sam and Tara are really, really interesting characters that I like quite a bit. I I went in this one originally with high hopes, and I was, they met my expectations and then some. I was really, really pleased with this one. It's not a perfect movie. There are some flaws. That Kyle Goner's in the movie for no good reason. Can't really figure out other than just to get killed early on. He's supposed to be like a red herring bad guy, but he doesn't last long enough for that, and it's kind of sticks out. It sticks out as a weird thing, and it doesn't even make sense why he's killed in the movie. There's some flaws there, and the uh, the movie is more brutal, which does work really, really well. It does give it more of a visceral impact to it, and they integrate old characters, including like the sheriff, Sheriff Hoffs from Part Four, really, really well. So it's doing pretty much everything well. So that even things like kind of the visions of Billy Loomis, which should be kind of hokey. I'm rolling with them because they're actually doing so much good with it, and the character of Sam is so interesting that that doesn't even bother me. Doesn't even come off as hokey, and the villains in this one are pretty solid. The reasoning and rationale is kind of trite, but a lot of the times you could say that's true. But I think the reveal works pretty well. I think that they managed to throw off the scent of who the villains are pretty well until the end, the reveal, and then the tiebacks into the previous movies and the throwbacks, the callbacks, if you will, work for me. Whereas in so many other movies, they're clunky and a little bit groan worthy. In this case, they work really well. So yeah, Scream 5 is a total hit for me. I'm invested in the new characters and I want to see more. And thankfully, they did do more. So let's get into that. Okay, just finished Scream 6 and finished the whole series as a result. And yeah, this one is absolutely great. It's a shocker that the part 6 is so good, maybe the second best of the entire series. And it feels very fresh, even though again part 6, but changing the location to New York, which when I saw this the first time, I thought was the first time they'd changed locations other than the LA thing, which had a Woodboro uh, set anyways, so it's still kind of like kind of there. But no, I forgot that part 2 was in Ohio. I didn't realize that. So it's not the first time they've done this, but it definitely feels like a different energy there. And you've got the cast members returning that are solidified now as people that I enjoy, people that I care about, people that I want to see survive. I really don't want to see them die. And the legacy characters are not needed anymore. Like Gail feels like a distraction in the movie, honestly. She doesn't need to be there anymore because I'm invested in the new characters. I like Sam, I like Tara. And, Melissa Barrera is giving a great performance. And the idea of exploring the psychology of what she's gone through, what they've both gone through, is a really nice way to delve more into the characters and make them work. It's again not a perfect movie. Like the ending is it strains credulity. The motivations of the killers seems far fetched, if you will, but it's still fun and I still enjoy it. And I didn't quite see it coming, so that's always good. We get Ghostface with a shotgun, which is a great scene, and it's the first time we've seen Ghostface with a gun while he's still wearing the mask. They use guns plenty, but they're always unmasked and they use them until that scene. So that worked really well for me. So there was a lot to be excited about in this movie. And I'm so into the new characters at this point. So I can't wait to see what they do next with them. Only they're apparently not going to be doing anything more with them. That's a big mistake by the studio. I know they're making a part 7. And the fact that Tara and Sam are not going to be in it takes the wind out of the sails for me. I am so much less interested in that now. I'll still go see it, but it's going to be a disappointment. So we'll see how that one shakes out when it comes out, but that's going to wrap it up for this series right here. Okay, so we did it this time. We got through all of the Scream movies in one sitting. And I thought this one was going to be a little bit easier because there's only 6 movies as opposed to some of the other ones we've done in the past where there's 8 or more movies. And yet it was not because these movies are a little longer. Most of those movies were an hour and a half or so, and these were closer to 2 hours, about 2 hours for each one. So still was a long time. I still spent about 12 hours there in front of the TV watching them, but I have no regrets. This series, top to bottom, is just great. Like I would say that even though it's not my number one favorite series, it's probably top 5 franchise, and it is pound for pound probably the most consistently good franchise. There are 6 movies, 5 that are good to great, and 1 that is fine. And that's part 3. And there's really not a huge letdown or any real true clunkers in there. The continuity is pretty damn tight, and the characterizations work really, really well. You care about the characters. The characters continue from movie to movie, so you can invest in them. Scream is fantastic. You guys probably know this already. Most of you, if not all of you, have seen this already. But if you haven't, obviously I'd recommend it. And definitely, let me know what you think of it. But let me know if you guys are interested in part 7 now that the Carpenter sisters aren't going to be in there. I'm still disappointed we're not going to find out, like, what's up with her trash mom? What happens next? Why is her mom never around? But, I guess we won't know what happens to the core 4 going forward. But, we'll still check it out because, again, these movies have been really, really good going forward. So that's going to be it for me. That's a night for tonight. Thank you very much. Next year, we're doing another one. Probably you guys, again, vote for what the series will be next year. But I enjoyed doing this. Hopefully you enjoy hanging out with me and watching them and talking about them. So let's keep talking in the comments. And until next year, class dismissed.